This is a professional camera, and I'm going to teach you on the basics on how to use it. Hello there everybody, my name's Alex. For the past year or so, I've been doing a lot of photography work. I have my own personal photography account that focuses on a lot of entertainment stuff, and it's something I really enjoy doing, but within that time, I've learned a lot of stuff that goes into photography, such as your equipment, the basics on how to shoot, as well as post-production. So in this little video, I'm going to show you the basics on how to do that stuff. The most important thing you're going to need to start with is the blueprints that you have for your photos, which is your camera equipment. I'm going to split this down into 4 different kinds of categories, which is the camera itself, camera lenses, batteries, and SD cards. Let's start first with the camera itself. This will be what will help you pretty much shoot with everything and adjust different kinds of features such as shutter speed, aperture, and ISO. What will help you with actually shooting everything will be the camera lenses. These kinds of lenses have different kinds of features and options to them, such as a zoom lens or a stronger aperture to it. There's a lot of different kinds of features that go into pretty much every single kind of lens. It really just depends on the context for what exactly you're shooting. But for a generalization, I'd say that the 18 to 150 millimeter lens works pretty well, especially because it has that zoom. So if you're trying to get something far away, such as an action shot or a wildlife shot, the zoom comes in pretty handy for that. The next thing is when it comes to keeping your camera charged, which is your batteries. You want to make sure if you're going out for a full day of filming something, you want to have your batteries as charged as fully possible so that you'll have enough time to shoot without your camera going out on you. And in that same faction is your SD cards. Your SD cards come in pretty important, as this is what will keep all the information for your photos that you take. So you'll be able to upload them on your computer, but you want to have these be as open and with as much space as possible, so you can also get as many photos as you possibly want. There's different things in your camera that'll tell you how many photos you're still able to take. So that's an important thing to keep an eye on if you need to delete any photos or if you need to switch your SD card. Before we get to actually shooting some photos, there's 2 important things you need to know before shooting, and that's in the menu options. This would be your aspect ratio and your image quality. When it comes to your aspect ratio, you can change the frame size for how you're shooting your photos. This could be making it 1:1, which is square, 3:2, 4:3, 16:9. This is all the ones that are at least offered in the EOS R10. It really depends on what you want to do. Sometimes it could be for artistic purposes to have it be in the 1 frame size, or if you're posting it to a social media website, you might need the 4:3 so that it'll get everything within that shot. And then when it comes to your image quality, there's 2 different options to choose from: RAW and JPEG. Between both of those options, you're gonna want to go with RAW. Not only because it'll make the photo look a lot more crisp and higher definition, but also it'll be easier for post-production later on. Now that we've gotten everything that goes before filming, let's actually get into filming some photos. And that comes into 3 main categories: ISO, aperture, and shutter speed. Let's start with ISO first. That controls the amount of light sensitivity that's in your photo. If it's a higher ISO, it'll be brighter. If it's a lower ISO, it'll be darker. But you want to have your ISO preferably be at 100. There's some of the other options I mentioned before will also help with lighting, but you want to have it be as low as possible. If you have your ISO be higher, your photo will be brighter, but that can also bring more noise in. Aperture controls the amount of focus that's in your photo. So say if you're doing a portrait shot, if you have a lower aperture, you'll really only get a lot of the details in the person, like the background will be blurred out. But if you have a higher aperture, your photo will have both the foreground and the background in focus. Additionally, a lower aperture is brighter, while a higher aperture is darker. And then the last thing would be shutter speed. Again, lower shutter speed is brighter, higher shutter speed is lower, but it's important to play around with these. And as for what shutter speed controls, it controls the amount of speed and movement that's in there. Say if you get a shot of a car moving, if you have a lower shutter speed, it won't be as crisp looking. You won't get the whole thing and you get a blurred effect. Sometimes that can work if you're trying to create a specific effect, but if you want to have it be fully crisp, you want to have that higher shutter speed there. The final thing I'll be focusing on today is post-production on photos. So after you take all your photos, you put your SD card into your computer. There's a lot of different kinds of photo editing softwares you can do. Currently, I use Adobe Lightroom, and that is what I will be showing. There's a lot of different features you can do in it. There's a lot of stuff to it. It can be a little overwhelming, but I'll only go into a little bit because part of the fun is experimenting. There's stuff you can do with adjusting the lighting of your photo, from exposure, coloring, from the vibrance, and also individual colors, and as well as fuzziness in your photo. If you want to try to get rid of some of the noise, there's noise reduction. So if you bring up the luminance higher, it'll get rid of some of that fuzziness, but it'll also get rid of some of that definition as well. So there's a lot to play around with that, but that's half of the fun to it, you know? And that is the basic overview when it comes to shooting and editing your photos. Thank you so much for watching. There's a lot more you can do when it comes to photos, but I just want this to be kind of just a regular overview so that the experimentation of it comes up to you. If you like what you saw, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what you think. Thank you so much.